We are the only creatures God created who can actually sit down and we can plan what kind of future we want. There are some things that should remain permanent, and I call them principles. The animal world live on instinct. So you never find an animal sitting down planning change. So I want to speak to you in this session. Please write this down. This is important session on the subject, things you should never change. Things you should never change. What a subject. We've been talking about change for the last 3 months. We've been talking about why it's important to understand change. We've also been emphasizing the importance to change. And there are some things that need changing in the world. But I want to talk to you in this session about some things you shouldn't touch. There are some things you should never change. In other words, I want you to understand there are some things that should remain permanent. And I call them principles. Principles are supposed to be permanent. The problem with the world right now is that everybody's excited about change. But change is the most powerful and predictable reality in our world. It is one of the things that no one can escape. Change is inherent in creation. Everything God created will change naturally. Mountains are changing every day. They are being affected by the climate around them. Rivers are changing every day. They're expanding or dying. Animals are changing every day. They're growing older. Trees are changing every moment. They are going through the change that takes place in their leaves and in their branches. And then you are changing every second. You are getting older. You are 5 minutes older than you were 5 minutes ago. In other words, the power to change is in everything God created. But here's the problem. We are the only creatures who can decide changes. The animal world live on instinct. So you never find an animal sitting down planning change. I've never seen 20 sharks meeting together, deciding the future. I've never seen a group of trees in the forest having a congress on what to do with the forest next year. We are the only creatures God created who can actually sit down and we can plan what kind of future we want. We can actually control change. This is called the power of will. Write it down. The will is a beautiful gift, and yet it's the most dangerous gift God ever gave man. Because the power of will gives us the ability to decide against God. God took a great chance when he gave us a will. But in order to make us like himself, he had to give us a will, because God is a God who has ultimate authority. And to create a creature in his own image, he had to give that creature the same quality. This is why a man who was created by God could actually tell God he doesn't exist. It's the power of will. But this power of will, therefore, is the power God placed in your hand to decide the future of the world. Every time I hear of some G7 meeting, a G8 meeting, now it's G12 meetings, I get nervous because these are people meeting somewhere in the world in a closed room, debating and deciding the future of the world. And we are not present. Therefore, we become a victim of other people's decisions and their will. Have you ever wondered why Jesus said these words when the disciples asked him, what should we pray for? And how should we pray? And he said, pray like this: Our Father who is not in a meeting on earth. Because he doesn't trust the meetings on earth. Our Father who is where? In heaven. That's the headquarters. Holy is his name. Character. Then he says, here's what you pray for. Thy kingdom come. That's your country come to earth. And then the next statement is powerful. Thy will be done. Your will be done. Why? We got our own. He said, don't pray for man's will to be done on earth. Because man is planning without God's advice. This is why I'm afraid. I don't trust no human. I don't trust a prime minister. I don't trust a president. I have no trust in a senator. I don't trust a congressman. I don't trust a parliamentarian. I don't trust none of y'all. I only trust the will of God. So he said, when you pray, pray, thy will be done. Where? On earth. How? Just like it is in heaven. You don't want your will done on earth, God says, because your will is contaminated. You disconnected yourself from heaven in Genesis chapter 3. You developed your own ideas. This is why God placed the future of the world in our hands, but he never wanted the world to be out of his will. I put it to you then, and write this down, that all nations are experiencing these major will changes. Let me give you a list very quickly. We are experiencing political confusion. We are experiencing constitutional revisions in every country. There are nations who are actually changing their constitutions. We are experiencing social transitions, ideological renovations. We are experiencing philosophical instability all over the world. We are experiencing moral manipulation. Values are vacillating. We're not sure what values are anymore. We are experiencing religious conflict. We are experiencing scientific change, technological advancement. We are experiencing economic independence. Can I use the word interdependence? And most dangerously, we are experiencing the redefinition of terms. We are redefining everything in the world. That's change.